I am currently standing over the tallest minaret in the largest mosque in all of India. This is something I cannot believe, but the view from here, I can see for miles into the capital of India. The hustle and bustle of the streets, the tuk-tuks, and even up here, hundreds of meters up in the sky, I can still hear everything so clearly. This is truly the city that never sleeps, and being the capital of the largest populous country in the world, this is a city that you're absolutely gonna want to visit when you're here. Welcome to one of the most incredible cities I have been to in my life, a city of colors and spice and flavor and smells that are just gonna overwhelm you when you get here. Welcome to the incredible city of Delhi, India. Delhi. This is one of the most hectic cities in the world. And today we are doing a heritage tour. We're understanding a little more about the history of Delhi, and we're going to see some of the old areas, old parts of the city, and almost get run over by a motorcycle here in the first few minutes of this vlog. But regardless, we've started off at a place which, for the city's namesake here in Delhi, this is Delhi Gate. Now, if you saw my previous videos here in Delhi, you'll know that we went to India Gate. That is a national symbol. That is the gate of India, commemorating the thousands of Indian soldiers that lost their life in World War I. Well, here, this is India Gate. Definitely nowhere near as grand as India Gate. This Delhi Gate is so small, it's so tiny, and literally no one even recognizes it as an actual thing, except for me apparently, because I'm actually the only one who came here. But this is a tour of Delhi. This is a tour of the streets of Delhi to see what there is, to see the local life, and in a lot of ways it's a heritage tour. It's a tour of the heritage of Delhi, the richness of the history of the city. So with that said, let's go ahead and let's start exploring what this incredible city has to offer. This is our main Delhi day, our main day where we get to see what old Delhi has to offer. So let's go ahead and begin our exploration here in the incredible city of Delhi. Now, if you know anything about India, you'll probably have heard about a guy called Mahatma Gandhi. Known as the father of modern day India, he was a major leader in the independence movement, protesting the British rule, and also his key thing, non-violence. Never using violence to solve issues, but rather using peaceful means. He was an educated lawyer who came back to India to help fight for this nation's independence. Today, it's a bit of a mix. Some people love Gandhi, some people hate Gandhi, but regardless of how you feel about Gandhi, the fact is that Gandhi is commemorated here in Delhi at a place called Rajghat. This is the place called the Samadhi of Mahatma Gandhi. This is where his remains are, and for many of you across India, this is a very, very important site to visit. We are doing our part today. We are going to go see Rajghat. We are going to see where the remains of Mahatma Gandhi are. It's a huge memorial, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna check it out here in the city of Delhi. Now, I should make a quick correction about Rajghat, because this is not the place where Gandhi's remains are. In fact, Gandhi's remains don't exist anymore because, like most Indians, he was cremated. He was cremated right here along the Yamuna River, which runs through the center of Delhi. Instead, what this place is a memorial for Gandhi. It's also the place where he was cremated, and to be honest, it's a really, really nice and peaceful place to be. We are currently walking around this square that you can probably see behind me. Down there is the big plaque that is commemorating Mahatma Gandhi, and you can see there's some people there doing ceremonies and rituals there in reverence to Gandhi. But you can also walk around the entire area, and it's just a really, really nice place to be. But we're gonna head down, we're gonna actually get close to it, and we're gonna see the plaque dedicated to Mahatma Gandhi. Right there. That's the plaque that says Gandhi. The interesting thing is that Mahatma Gandhi never ran India. He never was the prime minister. He never was the president. he never actually got the chance to run the country and rule over it. But he's just such an influential figure that even though he didn't take up any official, political, powerful position in charge of the country, he is still memorialized here in Delhi. It's a really peaceful place, and the people there are just arranging the flowers for the rest of the day that's going to stay there as a ritual to Gandhi. But it is an incredibly peaceful place. But to be fair, it's very simple. There's not much to it, but it's a nice place to visit. You might be able to see underneath here, there are some stones and rocks. This is a sign of Gandhi and how when he was walking and his sort of style, very simple, he used to just have a cloth and he would walk with his sandals or barefoot with his stick. It was a sign of his simplicity and his focus and determination to making India a free country, and you can see the signs of those rocks right there as a symbol of Gandhi. But I have to say, this is a beautiful place, and not only do people come here to pay their respects to Mahatma Gandhi, but people come here to do all sorts of exercises. They run, they enjoy the breeze, and right now the weather is actually incredibly nice, which is why some locals are out and about here in this massive park area. But that's it for Rajghat, and it's time for us to continue exploring the incredible city of Delhi. I've just been invited into a store. I was just so curious about it. Shoes! See that? I think this is just a shop that makes Qurans, actually, and they're a huge, well, not a huge, but a small little printing shop, and they've just asked me to come in. Absolutely incredible. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Winding down the streets of Old Delhi, you never know what you find, like a Quran printing shop. It's fascinating, interesting, and something I didn't expect to find here on a day out in Delhi. Now, we've been to many forts here in India. We've been to forts all across Rajasthan. We've been to fort in Agra. We've been to so many different forts. But here in Delhi, they have a fort of their own. It's called Lal Kila, also known as the Red Fort. Lal referring to the color red in Hindi. As you can probably tell, it's the Red Fort because it's actually reddish in color. But it's one of the main attractions, one of the main heritage attractions here in Delhi, and a visit to Delhi is not complete without visiting the Red Fort. It's one of the symbols of Delhi, one of the symbols of India, and it is one of the most beautiful things that I think you're gonna find here in the country. So with that, let's go ahead, let's buy a ticket, let's enter the Red Fort, and let's see what's actually on the inside of this massive structure, which you can see from so many different places around Delhi. I'm not gonna lie, I'm slightly confused. Every time I've been to a fort here in India, on the inside it's been historic, monuments, protected sites. You get signboards telling you a little bit about the background and the education of the Red Fort. But here, the Red Fort, the entryway, we're greeted with a market. Like people selling jewelry and clothes and necklaces and children's toys. I'm very confused. I thought we were here to see the Red Fort, not to shop. But apparently here at the Red Fort, shopping is part of the Red Fort experience. That has so far been the most surprising thing I've seen today. Nothing else has been as surprising as paying to go into a monument and a museum to see that it's literally filled with shops now. I'm not exactly sure what these might have to do with the Red Fort, but this kid here seems very intent on getting a toy for himself. Well, after exploring the shopping market, I don't even know what to call that thing. That's the most surprising thing I've seen. But we finally come to the actual entryway in the palace, the Red Fort. Now the Red Fort is historic because it was built by the Mughals. So the same empire that built the Taj Mahal, that built the Agra Fort, are the ones responsible for the Red Fort here in Agra. And you can see that a lot of the architectural styles are exactly Mughal. For example, if you look at the writing right here, right behind me, it's not in Hindi, it's actually in the language, the Persian language. When they came over from Afghanistan and that part of the world, when they came over into India, this is where they settled their roots. Now the capital was in Agra, but the capital moved around quite a few times. And at one point, Delhi, the fort, was one of the most important places in the Mughal Empire. The red color comes from the red sandstone that they've used, but if you just look at the designs, like the ceilings right above me, you see that is the design of the Mughals. The unique sort of geometric form, the unique shapes, the colors, everything is the Mughal sort of influence, the Mughal architecture. And remember, one thing that really was interesting about the Mughals is that although they came and conquered a big part of India, they were very tolerant in that they were respecting other people's religions, and you can see that also in the architectural influences because they combined the best of Muslim and Christian and Hindu architecture all together. Now this fort is one of the most massive complexes you're going to find here in the center of Delhi. It spans a massive area right around Chadni Chowk, so it's in the old heritage center of the main Delhi zone. But you can see this is just the main palatial entrance, and it's 3 floors tall. It's 3 massive floors. We're just on the ground floor. These would have been in steps in the past up to the 2nd and 3rd floor, which are no longer accessible to this day. But you can imagine how grand the architecture and the buildings were under the Mughal Empire. The same things you saw in Agra are very much replicated here in the Red Fort. We're going to go and continue. We're going to explore this beautiful fort, but the entryway is already so impressive, and it's reminding me of all the beautiful architecture that we had seen in other parts of India, particularly in Agra. As with most other forts that we've seen here in India, every fort in the beginning always has a hall of public audience. It always seems that the kings, the rulers here, wanted to have a place where they could listen to the public's concerns, listen to the people, and discuss with them exactly what were the problems of the day. This is the hall of public audience here at the Red Fort. As you can tell, it's very, very red. Really living up to the name of the Red Fort, considering how red these walls out. Now, the most impressive thing about this one is the well-preserved throne that you can see right behind me. That is a completely marble throne that was used by King Shah Jahan, the same king, the same Mughal king that was responsible for the construction of the Taj Mahal, that massive structure in Agra. Well, this was where he would use his hall of public audience. And it's one of the best preserved thrones I have seen. Most thrones, for example, in Orcha or even in Agra, the thrones were nowhere near as impressive as that. But that is incredible. It's incredibly white. You can see the carvings and the designs on it. The paintings are immaculate. And today, it is so protected that beyond this line right here, you're not allowed to even get close to it. And then there's another glass layer protecting it. That is how precious this throne is. And to be fair, from my perspective, from outside, you can see why it's so protected. It is one of the most beautiful things I have seen here in India. And you can literally see the carvings, the colors. It is just incredible. And to imagine it's the same exact throne that Shah Jahan may have been using hundreds of years ago. Even the pigeon wants to get into the throne, but it's stuck outside that glass wall. I guess I'm realizing that maybe the glass wall isn't for us humans, but it's to stop pigeons from going in, pooping, and ruining the structure. That actually makes a lot more sense. Now, one of the problems that I found that Indian rulers have always been concerned with is water supply. Whether it's in Rajasthan or in Orcha, the kings are always concerned about how do we ensure that there is enough water. Because the truth is, especially during the summertime, water is not a guarantee. Especially before the monsoon season arrives, water can be scarce and a lot of people can die when there's a lack of clean, fresh water. Well, here in the Red Fort, they have their own solution. This is Nar-e-Bihisht. I think that's how you say it. Basically, inside here, it's so cool that it served as the source of water. They called it the Canal of Paradise. And the water in here would eventually flow all the way, irrigating all parts of the entire palace. In here, you can actually feel, once I put my hand here, there is a temperature difference. The construction of the actual structure itself, the materials used, the marble that's used, makes the water really cool on the inside. They call it natural air conditioning. It's a very, very smart, ingenious way of ensuring there's a safe water supply, and to this day, it still actually works, which is pretty impressive. And just like that, we have officially made it out of the Red Fort. That is the Red Fort right behind us. The exit is all the way around. I have to say, compared to all the other forts I've seen here in India, the Red Fort is a bit underwhelming. It doesn't have the same impressiveness as Maharangarh. It doesn't have the same ornate buildings as Orcha. It is a fort, it's a red fort, and it's a very red fort. But if you have seen some other forts here in India, this might be the biggest disappointment of forts of all. However, that's not to say it's not worth it to come here. I think it's a really nice vibe. I think all the people that are here tend to be locals living here in Delhi who want to spend some family time together, some quality time together. That's the place to do it. It's a really nice place, it's a really nice vibe, and inside it's really peaceful. But if you're trying to see these buildings, these ornate carvings and these paintings and everything, then yes, they have some in there, but it's not the best. It's not as impressive, it's not as mighty, it's not as grand as some of the other palaces and forts that you can find here in India. So a good visit, especially if it's the first one here and you just arrived in Delhi, you want to see something cool, it's probably a nice place to go. But the expectations you should have in terms of Indian forts and palaces should be much higher, especially after you go to places like Rajasthan and particularly Orcha. With that, we're going to leave the Red Fort and we're going to head back in the busy streets of Delhi. Now earlier in the day, we saw something very interesting, a Quran book printing shop. They were printing Qurans over and over again in this tiny little shop, about 5 different men, and they were making these Qurans to be sold. And the reason Qurans are so popular here is because here in Delhi, like in many other cities in India, not only is there a massive Hindu population, but there's also a sizable Muslim population. And that is why we are here right now in the center of Delhi. We are at the largest mosque in all of India. This is Jama Masjid. Now, if you've seen my Agra and other videos here in India, you'll know that basically every city here in northern India has a Jama Masjid. And that's because when the Mughals took over different cities, they would build one. They were bringing in Islam, and as a result, they would build these massive, massive mosques, like the one you see right behind me. Now, the cool thing about this Jama Masjid is, like I mentioned, it is the largest mosque in all of India. Not only is it the largest mosque, it is also the largest living mosque, in that people still come here and worship. You can literally see Muslims praying right now, and they actually have the prayer schedule of all the times when prayer will be announced here inside the masjid. So for Muslims living in Delhi, this is still a living monument. This is still a place where they can come and give worship to. But the history of this place dates back hundreds of years, back to the Mughal Empire. You can see right behind this masjid is actually the Red Fort, where we were earlier today. And it was built during that same era, during the same empire, which is why you see the masjid also has that same red color, those same designs, those same sort of inscriptions. That style is very much the Mughal style that has influenced the Jama Masjid here. Now, like I said, it's still a living mosque, so there are still rules you have to abide by. For instance, you need to be wearing long pants. Now, if you don't have long pants, that's okay. Here in India, it's really, really hot. They kind of understand that. You can actually get one for free. That's included in your ticket. But you do have to respect the rules here. It's still a pretty strict place simply because people still do come here and worship because it's a living mosque. So you do have to follow the rules. But it's quite a massive and expansive place. And you can see so many people here, living Muslims who are still practicing and praying within the mosque. Now, one of the coolest things about Jama Masjid is that if you've seen the images and the videos of Jama Masjid, you'll know that there are a few minarets. There are 2 big minarets in the Jama Masjid, and the best part is these minarets can be climbed. You can climb to the very top and have an incredible view of all of Delhi. So, for a little price of just 200 rupees, you can actually climb all the way to the top. I don't know how tight it's gonna be. I've had some bad experiences climbing up minarets. for example, in Bosnia. So I hope it doesn't repeat itself again. But let's go ahead, let's climb this minaret here in Jama Masjid and let's see what the view like is up from the top. From there you can see that is the Red Fort. That's where we were earlier this morning when we were exploring the Red Fort. That is honestly more like a big park for locals. There it is, right over there. And then just a few blocks away is the Jama Masjid where we are right now. I have to say, shout out to Jama Masjid for making this staircase easy, ventilated, and bright. There is nothing dangerous about climbing up this minaret, and I can't say that for every minaret I've climbed up. So far, a very positive experience. A big thumbs up for me. Let me just say, this is one of the best minarets you're gonna climb. And just like that, we have officially made it to the very top of the minaret here in Jama Masjid. First off, man, is it windy. The breeze is so comfortable in this 33-degree heat. Oh, this is the perfect temperature, but the view. This is what you come for. You can see the Red Fort all the way back there. You can see the streets, the hustle and bustle of Delhi. And for a second, you're above it all. You are literally in a minaret, well above it. Now, I did say the minaret is very well constructed, very clear, very easy to climb to the top. That's absolutely true. However, it is pretty tall minaret, taller than some of the other minarets. I think it might be the tallest minaret I've climbed. So by the time I got to the top, I was starting to get a little bit dizzy because it's non-stop rotation after rotation after rotation. So if you're thinking of coming up to the very top of the minaret here in Jama Masjid, just keep in mind, it's clear cut, it's pretty straightforward, it's not dangerous. You're just gonna need some persistence and maybe the occasional break or two. But aside from that, it is completely worth it. Look at the view right behind me. I mean, if there isn't a better view than that, I don't know what is. And just like that, we have officially made it out of the minaret. I have to say, that is quite dizzy. You're gonna feel dizzy after that, and actually there is a second minaret. So if you feel like climbing that one, you can climb that too. To be honest, I think climbing one is enough, and the best part is actually this minaret had 0 people in it. I literally had it all to myself. Up there, I can literally see at least 5 people squeezing for space in there. So I'd say I got a pretty good deal. That's why you should do it when you're here at the Jama Masjid. With that, let's go ahead, let's leave the peace and serenity of the mosque right now, and let's enter back into the busy and bustling streets of Delhi, India. This is now one of the messiest, craziest parts of Delhi. It's a place that when you think of Delhi and you think of India, this is what the stereotypical scene of India looks like. Welcome to Chadni Chowk, the messiest market in India, the messiest market in Delhi. It's hectic, it's vibrant. You can buy clothes, saris, dupattas, whatever you need to survive here, jewelry, bangles, you've got it all here. It is an incredible place to shop. And for the rest of the day, we're actually going to spend our time walking around this part, walking around Chadni Chowk. It's a legendary place, and I've heard about this place for so long, it's only right that we spend the rest of the day here exploring Chadni Chowk and exploring why it is one of the craziest markets in Delhi. And a sari store. Literally as Indian as it gets. That's as Delhi as it gets. That is what Chadni Chowk is all about. Cows roaming the middle of the street in front of beautiful, exquisite saris right behind me. There's one thing that India is known for is its incredible spices. From garam masala to turmeric This country is known for not only putting a lot of spice into the food, but selling a lot of spice. And there's one place in Delhi that you have to come to if you want spice, and that is the spice market. Honestly, people are coming here and they're sneezing because of how spicy it is. But there are so many spices here. You can smell it in the air. The chilies, the turmeric, the coriander seeds, the cardamom. There is so much going on here, and so many people, as you can probably tell, carrying these spices from one store to the other. It's crazy, it's messy, but that's what India's spice market is all about. I kind of expected the spices here to be in tiny little tubs, but the reality is spices here in India are in huge, massive sacks. They come in sacks. You can buy it in little packs, but wow, the quantity here is absolutely stunning. You can imagine that they would use these to transport these loads and loads of spices across the market. Oh, I feel like I'm about to sneeze because there's so many spices here. Oh, it really gets in your nose once you're here inside the market. Well, after trying to find a rooftop for the last 30 minutes, unfortunately, we have failed. I think too many people have been climbing rooftops here in India, and because of that, they have outright banned it. Everyone is aware of it, everyone locks it, and as much as I wanted to show you the rooftop view of the market, the spice market here in India, and what that would look like, unfortunately, that's not gonna happen today. I think they've locked it up for good. I think they know that too many people want to do it, and I wish I could have ended this video on a sunset view overlooking the streets of Delhi and the markets and the hustle and bustle, but unfortunately, that is not gonna happen. But that's okay, that's the reality of travel. Not everything works out perfectly, but nonetheless, it has still been an absolutely incredible day. From Rajghat in the morning to the fort, to the mosques, to Chadni Chowk, one of the busiest places in Delhi. This is what India is about. The vibrance, the life, the color, the never-ending streams of saris and food and sound and noises. That's why you come to Old Delhi. And this has been the perfect way to end off our tour of Old Delhi. Exploring these markets, exploring the spices, coughing up the spices, that is what life is like here in India. So with that, I hope you guys have enjoyed this tour here in the center of Delhi, exploring the streets, exploring the old town, exploring the heritage of the city. It is one of the most beautiful cities that you can explore in terms of its culture and its vibrance, and it's for that reason that so many people come to India every year. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe for a lot more food and travel videos. This is an insane tour of Delhi, but I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye guys.